Okay, Metallica's Escape starts off with a harmonized guitar line. We'll cover the lower harmony first, and that lower harmony starts with, we're going to be chugging the open A string, and we're also going to be using the D string, the 7th fret on the D string, kind of beefing the part up with 2 A notes an octave apart. And the first thing that you want to do is do a quick little hammer from 5 to 7 on the D string while you're also hitting that low A. So it's kind of like a, 2 notes going there at once. And don't put a palm mute on that first one so it pops nice. And then put your palm mute on, get some nice chugs for just some straight 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay, and now on beat 4, we're going to go. So we do that little 5 to 7 on the D string, back to 5. Okay, now when we come back to 7, you put a palm mute on that note. And then do a little 5, 7, 5 hammer pull. Come down to the A string, 8, 7. Okay, so that... Okay, now the timing's pretty easy. It's all mostly 8th notes, except that little quick hammer pull in the second measure might throw you, but just think 8th notes, so you don't have to come up with any fancy way of counting that. It would just be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So you just say 3 for that, 3 and 4, okay? And then that'll get you through that. And that's the lower harmony. We do that 3 times, and on the 4th time, we just do this. Okay, we just kind of get rid of the fancy little trill thing in that second measure, and we just go 7 twice on the D string, and then come down to the 8th fret on the A string twice. And then we get into the next little section, which both guitars on the album, both guitars do this the same. So we just go. Okay, so we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and just straight 8th notes chugging on that open A string, and then do this little dyad where we've got the 7th fret on the D and the 5th fret on the G. So it's a minor third interval. And we do that 4 times. And you can chug that open A with that 7th fret the whole time too on the D string. I'm pretty sure that's the way it is on the album. Makes it a little bit beefier. And then we do that 4 times, and then we get into this next thing. Okay, so again, we're just chugging on A's, so you can use that open A and then along with the A on the 7th fret of the D string. Okay, and then stab the barred 5th fret on the D and the G on that last upbeat of beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, and then back to chugging on those A's. And then we want to use notes on the G string along with a D string ringing underneath. So we're going to go 8, 7, 5, 7 on the G string and just leave that open D ringing underneath. Okay, and that's the riff. We play that twice. And then we get into our verse. And that riff, it'll come back again in later in the song. It plays underneath the solo as well as it's the final riff that you hear throughout the song until it fades out, except it's going to be moved down a string set. So you will encounter that riff again. Now, since we went through harmony guitar 1, I'll just play through that whole intro bit nice and slow for you, and then we'll move on to the second harmony guitar. Okay, now moving into the higher harmony part, we only have to cover the first couple measures because on the album then they start doing the same thing till the verse begins. But that higher harmony starts off the same as that lower, where we're going to do the open A in conjunction with that A on the 7th fret of the D string. And then we just do the same rhythmic figure, but a little bit higher. So we start off by going 4 to 5 on the G string, that quick little hammer, back to 4, and back up to 5. And when you do that, you want to do a palm mute on that. And then a quick little hammer pull from 4 to 5, come down to the D string, 7 to 5. And then we can repeat it. And we play that 3 times. And then the 4th time, we just go 5 on the G string twice, 7 on the D string twice. And then from there on the album, like I said, the 2 guitars play the exact same thing. So we've already covered that. But just to be super clear, I'll just play that higher harmony guitar part, the whole thing up to the verse nice and slow. Getting into the live version of this intro, the harmony guitar lines that take up the first 8 measures are the exact same, so we just do that. And that is the same as it is on the album. Then after that harmony guitar line that takes up the first 8 measures, there's that 4 measures of just chugging on the A with that minor third interval. And that's where it gets a little bit different than the album. So live, Kirk Hammett was just doing what was on the album. He's chugging on that minor third interval. However, Hetfield was down on a different dyad. Now, I'm not entirely convinced that this was by design. They've only played it the one time in their career. And this has been a long time since the song was written, right? So it's not going to be as practiced up as the other tunes that they always play. So, you know, it could have been that they were a little unclear on the parts, because there is a time there too where Hammett comes in with he comes in just a couple of rotations too early with that little run and catches himself and jumps back into just the chugging. So, you know, go watch that live footage of that song if you want to see that. But at any rate, it sounds good what they did, and the theory works out, which I'll explain. So here's what they did. Yeah, Hammett chugging on that minor third. Hetfield was down here on the 5th frets on the D and the G. Okay, so they both have that 5th fret as the high note on the G string, so that works. And now as far as the 5th fret, because Hetfield would be hitting that 5th fret on the D and Hammett would have been hitting the 7th, right? But if you think of this in relation to all over a bass note of A, then we have a G, an A, and a C. So it's just the minor 7th root and minor 3rd, right? So it was really just spelling out a minor 7th quality chord. So it will all work out. So Hammett was doing this. And Hetfield was down here on the 5th frets. Okay, now after we chug those measures, four measures of that, then we get into that next riff, which is that. Right, that's what it was on the album. However, again, they've changed this. Hammett stayed again on this minor third. So unlike the album, he didn't drop down and bar the 5th frets. He just stayed on that minor third dyad. And Hetfield came up and did this power chord on it's an A power chord off the 7th fret of the D string. So 7th fret of D, 9th fret of G. And again, this works out because if you put all these notes together, we're just spelling out an A minor triad again, right? So between the 2 guitars, you've got an A minor triad. So Hetfield was jumping up and going. And then he falls off camera, so you can't really see what he does to finish this riff off, but I imagine it sounds like they both did the same thing there. So. And then we're into the verse. So that's how the intro is live and the album. So let's get into the verse next. So with the verse, we have a shift to F sharp minor, and it's pretty basic. All that we're doing is basically just chugging straight eighth notes on an F sharp power chord down on the second fret of the low string. So we just want to chug almost 2 straight measures of that, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, once we hit that 4, we're going to go up a half step to G and do that 4 times, down, up, back to the F sharp. So the timing though is a little bit tricky, might throw you, because you're chugging on this F sharp, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and. So you're shifting back on the end of 1 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so you do that 3 times, and on the 4th time, we only do 1 measure of chugging on that F sharp. And then we get these power chord stabs like F sharp, up to G. And then you want to do a palm mute E. So you hit the low E, and then with an upstroke, hit the E power chord. Palm mute an E again with a downstroke, and then F on the 1st fret. And then back to repeating the whole thing. So here's the verse, really nice and slow for you. And then we get into the chorus, and again, the chorus is a pretty simple riff, but I'll just play through it a couple times here for you, and then we'll break it down. Okay, so the chorus riff that would correspond to what Hammett is playing live is really just 4 measures that we repeat 4 times for the chorus. And it starts off with an A power chord. And we're going to hold that for 1.5 measures before we go palm muted E, and then palm muted an A power chord on the 5th fret, down to the 3rd fret, G. Okay, so palm mute, and then take the palm mute off for that G. Now lift your first finger, get a palm muted E, palm mute that G, move down to an F sharp on the 2nd fret. Okay, so far we have this. Okay, now we just do a quick little arpeggio. And we're just going up an F sharp minor. So we're going 2nd fret on the low string, and then 4th on the A and the D strings, and then 2nd fret on the A string. And then we just repeat it all over, starting on that A power chord. And you kind of gradually take that palm mute off as you go up that arpeggio. So you don't have to be super precise which ones you're palm muting, but just kind of gradually take that palm mute off as you go up that. Okay? And then go through that whole riff 4 times. And that's the underlying rhythm. And then we'll get into Hetfield's part here, which is he's just playing the melody line along with himself. And he does it all along on the D string. Okay, and so he plays that 4 times. And all that we're doing is we're going 12, 11, 9, 7 on the D string. And then we go back up to 12, 11, back to 12. And we're going to hit that 12th fret twice when we come back up to it. And then slide down to 11, down to 9. And that's the melody line. Okay, you play that 3 times. On the 4th time, you will also want to slide back down to the 7th fret to finish it off. So the 4th time would be like this. And then we're back out of that into another verse and all that. So there is both parts for the chorus. And then after the second chorus, we get into a brief little interlude section that's only 4 measures long, and it's really just 2 measures, but we repeat it. And then we get into the bridge. But that little interlude section is just this. Okay, that's all that it is right before we hit the bridge. Now, there's probably different ways of playing this, but I'm going by what I saw live. And what I could make out live was going up this F sharp arpeggio again. Okay, so we're going 2, 4, 4, just up that straight F sharp power chord. Now, I didn't see him shift up because we have a B power chord. We're going B to A, but I didn't see him shift his fingers up and hit a B power chord. It was more like, and then he would bar the 2 4th frets with his pinky. Okay, so you want to hit the 4th frets on the D and the G with your pinky before you go to an A power chord. Okay, but really that's just a B power chord. So you could move up, hit a B power chord, go to A. That's totally fine. Right? But I didn't see him shift his fingers. I just saw him more bar with that pinky. Go to the A power chord. And then repeat that F sharp arpeggio. A power chord to G on the 3rd fret of the low string. And you just do that twice. Okay, and then we get into the bridge. So I'll give that a quick play and then we'll break that one down too. Bridge, super easy. All that we're going to do, start on that F sharp power chord, 2nd fret of the low string, hit that twice, put a palm mute on it, and then take a palm mute off for hitting a B and an A. Okay, so 2nd fret power chord on the A string, open A. And now put your palm mute back on, go back down to that F sharp, up a half step to G. Okay, so we have these 2 measures. And you're going to play that 3 times. The 4th time, start off the same, but go down to an E power chord, then up to the G. And that's the whole bridge. Okay, so that 4th time. And then we get out of that halftime feel that was happening. Okay, so again, we're doing a lot of rolling up that F sharp power chord arpeggio. So, and on the album, there's not a lot of palm muting. You could really put a palm mute on that very first note. And then it kind of, there's not a lot of palm muting for the rest of this until we chug on each power chord. But we're gonna go, so 2, 4, 4, rolling up that F sharp arpeggio. And then you can bar like we did in the previous riff to imply that B power chord, or you can shift your fingers up if you prefer. And then we're going to get chug on an A power chord. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? We're then roll up that F sharp again. And then hit an A power chord down to the G. Put a palm mute on that G because we're going to chug on that for 2 beats, 3 and 4 and, right? Roll up that F sharp again to the A power chord. And now we're going to come down to the 1st fret, F, and we're going to actually chug on that for 4 beats. So we have a quick little measure of 6/4 in here. Okay, so it's that last measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and... Okay, now live, they got rid of that measure of 6/4 and they actually put in 2 measures of 4/4. So live, they went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then into the solo. So if you're playing it live, you could choose just to simplify things and keep everything in 4/4 like they did. And then we are into the solo. So let's do the rhythm underneath the solo, and here we go with that. Okay, so the rhythm underneath the first half of the solo is the same riff that we learned in the intro. We're just moving it down a string set. So instead of playing it on the A and D strings primarily, we're going to be playing it on the E and the A strings. So start with your double E's. You know, you can do a little hammer from 5 to 7 on the A string. So we've got the 7th fret on the A string and then the low E, and we're just going to go. And then coming to those barred 5th frets on the A and the D. And then back to those double E's. And then, so we're going to let the A string ring underneath it this time as we go 8, 7, 5, 7 on the D string. And that's the riff, just like we learned in the intro, just move down a string set. Okay, and we play that 4 times. And then it shifts gears into some power chords down here. Okay, so we start with an E power chord and put a palm mute on this, to an F sharp twice, back to E, and then let that F sharp on the 2nd fret ring out. So, okay, getting into the next half of this riff, we want to do a quick down up on that open E, and then we hit another E power chord. So, then go to that F sharp twice, back to E twice, then come up to G on the 3rd fret and hit that twice. Take the palm mute off for that. Okay? And then we play that 3 times. So nice and slow, that's this. And we play that 3 times. The 4th time, you just go. Okay, and then there's 3 beats of rest. It's a measure of 6-4. So that last measure is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6. And then we get back into. Okay, so I'll just play that second half of the rhythm that goes underneath the solo, just so you've really got that, and then we'll move on into the outro of the song. So that second half goes like this. Okay, then we're getting into the outro of the song, and the whole rest of the song is just under that riff that we played in the first half of the solo. So it's just this. And that just goes straight to fade out, doesn't change. But there is a little melody line. Hetfield doubles himself, the melody that he's singing. And the live footage showed him playing octaves, which he might have done on the album too. It's hard to pick out that octave, but you know, if it was up to me, I would play it with the octaves. It sounds a bit beefier. But what he's doing is this. Okay, and he just repeats that until fade out along with his vocal line. So what we're doing, and if you don't want to play the octave figure that I'm doing, then you could just play the lower note. That would work too. But live, he played the octave, and that's what I would tend to do too if given the choice. But so what we're doing, we're taking this octave, sliding it up and down the A and the G strings with some palm muted E's between them. So we start off with 3 palm muted E's, and then hit the octave on the 13th fret of the A string and the 15th fret. Back to an open E palm mute, and slide down to the 12 and 14. So just sliding that octave down half a step. And then another E palm mute as we go. So hit 2 octaves in a row here on the 10th fret, so 10 and 12, sliding down to 7 and 9, okay? And then we want to hit another E palm mute as we slide back up to that starting octave on the 13th fret, 13 and 15. E palm mute, come down to 10 and 12. Another E palm mute. And then we go 12, so we're on 12 and 14, down to 10 and 12. Okay, so the whole thing nice and slow. And then we're going to hold that for 2 whole measures and just do a little slide on that last beat and then repeat it. and so on until fade out. So that is all the rhythm parts of Escape. It's a really cool tune, really fun to play. It's not that hard, but let's get into the lead now. It's not too hard either. It's one of the easier ones that we've had to do so far, so I think you're gonna enjoy it. Here we go. Once again, I hope this video is answering all the questions that you've got on yet another classic Metallica track. If you want to learn every single Metallica song ever recorded, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and then check out this playlist. It's always growing. I'm going to eventually have every single Metallica song on every studio album added to it, and you can learn everything that you've ever wanted to know about every song and probably more. And if you're really loving what you're seeing and you want to support the channel, then consider a small donation. You can find that button to PayPal on my homepage. It would be really appreciated. It would help me get these out faster for you, better quality, help me get the songs out that you really want to see. And also, keep suggesting those songs that are coming in daily in the suggestions, or email me, however you want to get those suggestions to me, as well as what kind of content you'd like to see other than song tutorials. Let's get back to Escape. The solo starts off with a lot of bending at the 15th fret. We're going to bend the 15th fret on the B string, and we're going to do that a total of 8 times. And that last time, we bend, release, and pull off to 12. And then bend the 15th fret on the high string, and we do that 4 times. And release just to the unbent 15th. And then, so what you want to do is when you release that unbent 15th, you do a quick pull off to 12, down to the 15th fret on the B string, and then back up to the 12th fret, and then bend the 15th fret on the B string again. So that first little phrase so far goes like this. Okay, then we get into this sequence, and it should be in everybody's vocabulary, just a 4-note sequence. And so on. So we start on 15, 14, 12 on the high string, down to 15th fret on the B string. And then we go back up to the 14th on the high string, so 14 and 12, down to the B string, 15, 14. Then come back up to 12 on the high string, and then 15, 14, 12 on the B string. Okay, so we're really just moving down 1 note at a time and falling 4 down the scale, so. And from here we stay on the B string, 15, 14, 12 to down to 10. And then 14, 12, 10 down to 8. 12, 10, 8 down to 7. Okay? And we're going to do one more. 10, 8, 7 down to 9 on the G string. And then we go 7 down to 9 on the D string. And then come back up to 7 on the G string. But you want to nudge that string just a little bit. And then you want to go 9, 7 again. So 9 on D, 7 on G. And then you want to do these staccato pickings where you're going. So you cut them nice and short and go 9, 7, 9, 7 on the G string. And then you want to bend 9 on that G string, release it, pull off to 7, down to 9 on D, and back up to 7 on G. Okay? So that whole little phrase looks like this. And then we get into a little more melodic playing. This is pretty simple. We're going to go. So we start off up on the high string, 12, 10, 9, down to 12 on the B string, and then 9, 10, 9 on the high string. Come down to the B string, 12, 10, 9. Okay, so far we have this. Now we're going to grab the 10th fret with our second finger on the B string and bend it up, and then release it back to unbent. And then do a hammer from 9 to 10, back to 9, come down to the G string 9, and then 11th fret on the D string. Okay, so we have this. Now, 9, 11 on the G string. Bend, release, pull off to 9. And then you bend, release, pull off to 9, back to 11, and 9. And then we want to go 9 on the D string, or 11 on the D string, sorry. 9 on the G, 11 on G, and then bend that 11th fret up to 9 on B. And then we get into our fast little bit to cap the solo off. This is definitely the most complicated part of the solo. We're gonna go, here, I'll just play it quickly, slow through so that you've got it in your ears, and then I'll break that down. Okay, so our fast little bit starts off on the B string with a 12 to 9 pull off, down to 11 on G, back up to 9 on B, okay? And then we go 12, 9 pull off on that B string, 10, 9 pull off. Okay, so we have this. Now we want to do a quick bend on the 11th fret on the G string, back up to the 9th, and you don't have to get it up a whole step. If you can, fine, but it's just really just a quick nudge, getting a little effect. Back up to 9 on the B string, and then you want to bend, release, pull off to 9 on that 11th fret of the G string. Okay? And then 11 to 9 pull off on that G string, down to 11 on D, and then 9, 11 on G, up to 9 on B, 12, 9 pull off. Now you want to do a quick little hammer pull from 9 and 12 on the high string, back down to the B string, 12, 9 pull off. And then you want to finish this off by going 11, bend that again, up to 9 on the B string, and then quick hammer or pull off slide lick here on the G string, 11 to 9 pull off, slide down to 8, and then do another 9 to 8 pull off. Okay, so far that whole fast little thing, really nice and slow, is like this. Okay, and then we get into a little open string lick to finish this off. We go 2 opens on the B, then 7. This is all on the B string. So we start off with those 2 open Bs, then 7, 3 open Bs, 9, 3 open Bs, 10, 3 open Bs, 12, and then 10 again. Okay, so there's that last measure. It's a little bit wonky, it might throw you because it's a measure of 6/4. Remember to finish that solo off. So it'd be like this, flowing out of the measure before. It's like 3 and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 6 E and a... Okay, so the timing might take you a little bit of work there to get that. But since it's a nice short solo, I'll just play the whole thing nice and slow for you, and then we've got it, and that's a wrap. So now you know how to play Escape by Metallica on guitar, note for note, exactly as it was on the album, and how they played it live. Don't forget to subscribe and like so that you can learn every Metallica song ever recorded, as in-depth as this video was, as well as many more tracks from your favorite artists. Before you leave, drop me a comment, maybe some suggestions of songs that you would like to learn, and tune in for the next one.